Been there, guess what? Was cheated on. Don't date someone you cheat with even if you were single. Cheaters gonna cheat.
I was the cheater in a former relationship that ultimately ended because of the cheating, and started a relationship with the person I was cheating with. If she ever cheats on me, it'll probably be exactly what I had coming.
My best friend at work met a guy at work, who was married. My friend wasn't married but had a few casual guys she saw. They pretty much immediately started hooking up. His wife found out so they split and he moved in with my friend. My friend found out he was married when the wife found out he was cheating. In a show of horrible judgment she let him move in. 3 to 4 months later he was caught fingering the college intern in the sick room. My friend dumped him. I got to say, told you so, again when he knocked up another girl he'd met on Tinder. She was due to give birth 4 months after my friend broke it off with him. So he got her pregnant before he even left his wife and moved in with my friend.
I was dating a girl and found out she cheated on me. Reasonable thing would be to leave her and move on, right? But I was 18 on the day, and immature as hell, so I said fuck it, I'll just cheat on you too. Fell in love with the girl I hooked up with. Broke things off with my girlfriend. We've been together 5 years, just bought a condo and she'll be getting a ring soon. Neither of us have cheated in our whole relationship and I know I never will. People can grow up and I know a lot more often than not cheaters are gonna cheat, but I'm one example of someone who fucked up once and was able to get it together for somebody I love.
I've been married for nearly 25 years. Our relationship started with an emotional affair when we were both seeing other people. But, as we're both the children of divorced parents, we never presumed that our relationship would last forever. So, I'd obviously be deeply hurt, but would also understand my partner leaving me for someone else.
Ex-girlfriend cheated on her ex-boyfriend with me. No surprise when she started seeing other guys when our relation got a rough period. Dumped her right away.
I was in a long-term relationship when a coworker and I started to grow fond of each other. I guess you could say it was an emotional affair. We were young kids, 21, and I decided to leave my GF for her. I was always a loyal person, but I could picture marrying this person. After dating for a while, I ended up marrying this person. She's starting having an emotional affair on me about 6 months ago and now it seems like karma is a bitch. Not sure if we will make it. Tried getting her back but she's mentally gone. I've been through the ringer and am losing all feeling for her.
The first date I went on with this girl was about a week and a half after she had cheated on her last boyfriend. I'd been friends with her before then, had developed a bit of a crush, and not too long before the fateful day she had confessed to me that she liked me. I had a lot of thoughts swirling around in my head just from that confession because I was a college freshman who had never been on a date before. Then she went and did that. Her boyfriend was in the army, so she only saw him on Skype, which can be very hard when you craved as much physical affection as she did. When a previous romantic fling showed up at her dorm room door, one thing led to another, and the next day she had no boyfriend. I couldn't believe she'd betray him like that. I told her I wouldn't see her for an entire month while I figured out what the hell our relationship was going to be. She could text me, but that was it. A week and a half later we went on our first date. She had explained to me that she was crestfallen and heartbroken about it. She said it was probably the worst thing she'd ever done, and that she'd spent so much time crying over it that she'd sworn to never do it again. I wasn't wholly convinced, but decided let's try it out. The reason she gave for why it happened was that physical affection was very important to her. Hugs and kisses were how she showed love, and after not being able to do that with her love for far too long, she was looking for other outlets, and the wrong person showed up in the wrong place at the wrong time. My thought was only how long it would be before the next wrong person came along, and so cautiously I proceeded. Chick-fil-A was yummy, we talked a whole lot about what we expected from one another, and she said if she were to cheat on me that I should cut her off entirely. I said, no shit, and made sure she'd do the same if I cheated. That was pretty much the end of the conversation regarding her infidelity, and so we just talked about school for the rest of the date. That was 5 years ago. We kept dating, got married a year ago, and are expecting our first child in July. We've kept the pledge we made on our first date, and I honestly don't trust anybody more on this planet than my wife. She shares everything with me, and I with her. We don't hide purchases, texts, emails, messages, phone calls, anything, because we want to be open and trusting of one another. I wouldn't have it any other way.
You should know if they cheat with you they will cheat on you.
Not me, but a guy the first was stationed with in Belgium. We called him fucking Fred FF because he could not even say the Lord's Prayer without dropping a couple of F-bombs. The guy's wife was stateside waiting for FF to secure housing. We find out that FF met his bride while she was on an unaccompanied tour in Korea. In case anyone doesn't know, unaccompanied means she could not bring her spouse. The guy is humble bragging how he met her, yada yada. She divorces her husband to marry him. A few months in, FF gets a phone call from the wife. She met someone, fell in love and wants a divorce. What the fuck did he expect?
I was the other woman to my husband's marriage, but his wife knew about me and was okay with me. She had a BF too. Ultimately they got divorced and she went to her BF, he went with me. I would be upset, but I would also ask if I could sleep with other men because it only seems fair. I would also ask if he still loved me. If so, can we have an open marriage? If not, let's try to have a fair divorce. I like the idea of open marriage, so I'd be really wanting to try it.
To answer your question, bad. Devastating. The notion that, once a cheater, always a cheater, is false. It's like survival bias or whatever it's called. You only know serial cheaters because they keep cheating. What you don't see is the person who cheated once and moved past it. You don't see the internal remorse and guilt, the growth they made as a person. I guarantee you know someone close to you that started the relationship they're in now with some type of cheating, and you never knew because being a cheater is not what defines who they are. It might be a friend, cousin, aunt or uncle, parent or grandparent. Shoplifting once does not define you as a shoplifter for life. It doesn't make you a criminal for life. I cheated on my girlfriend 2 decades ago, and it still haunts me till this day. The other woman is now my wife, and we've both been monogamous the whole time. She's the love of my life and my best friend.
I would be surprised. However, I was the cheating party and he was the other man. I was young and stupid and in a pretty shitty, toxic relationship that I really should have just left way earlier, affair or not. Other man felt a lot of guilt about what was going on and we kept trying to end it, but we were pretty in love, so it carried on warily until I finally left the shitty guy to be with him properly. Now, because our relationship is healthy and happy and I'm with a good match for me, I have absolutely no desire to be with anyone else. There is no thrill to the thought of anyone else. The first and only time I cheated, it had been foolish escapism from a bad situation. Not trying to make an excuse, what I did was still wrong and painful for everyone involved and I should not have done it. But the motivation was different than just some intrinsic, hardwired need to fuck around.
My ex-wife left me for a married man who left his wife to be with her. Now these two cheats are always fighting. The reason? Cheating, a leopard does not change its spots. And me. I'm loving it.
Started dating a girl who I barely knew senior year of high school. She went to a different school. I cheated on her like 5 days in. As things got more serious, it weighed heavier and heavier on my conscience. I told her 6 months later and she forgave me. 3 years later, junior in college at different schools. She cheated. I was hurt, but she showed real remorse. I forgave her. Looking back, she has admitted she was a real cunt at that period of our life because she couldn't see me as often as she wanted. I studied engineering, so I was always studying and doing homework. She did social work, so she was always doing, well, not that. 5 years after that we got married, and honestly, our relationship is basically perfect. We have each told each other the hardest truth we ever had to tell. Now it's so easy to be honest with one another, and we both know we don't want to go through, or put the other through something like that again.
My now husband was in a long-term relationship when I met him. Started as a drunk hookup, didn't know he was with someone originally, but then when I did find out, it only stopped for a while. Not my proudest moment. He told me he loved me pretty early on, but I wasn't interested in anything serious. I mean, come on, the man is a dick who cheats on his girlfriend. However, very long story short, over many years, I told him if he wanted to date properly he would need to be single, and he ended his relationship. We started dating 7 years ago, married, got a daughter. I have never suspected him of cheating. When he was with his ex, they were together for 8 years, never lived together, and he repeatedly cheated on her and even told her about it. There never seemed any consequence to his cheating. When we first started dating, I was open about that and said, if you ever cheat, we are done. And I mean it, married, kids and all. Cheat once and he loses our life. So I would feel like shit. I would have no right to be a dick about it. You can argue all you want, I guess it's karma, and honestly, I still wouldn't regret anything. He didn't have the balls to leave a relationship that he wasn't happy in until the ultimatum was given. But yeah, what we did wasn't cool in the slightest, and I was aware going into our relationship that if he ever becomes unhappy or falls out of love, etc., he won't talk to me about it. He will just move on. It's a total risk.
I've had several relationships start like this. One was actually married when we started up. So I was like, okay, this relationship has a set shelf life. Let's see how long she goes before she tries to cheat on me. Stayed devotedly loyal for about 6 months. Then one day a light switch flipped and she suddenly started talking about this other guy adoringly, so I told her we're done and that was that.
Did that back when I was in high school, because of course you can't tell teenagers anything. I will say I was still caught off guard and mad when it happened though. Everybody thinks they're the exception to the rule and you never know till it's too late either way.
My boyfriend cheated on his ex with me. A few months later we decided to date. We talked about the fact he cheated and he was basically in tears discussing how he must have made his ex feel. There was a lot of genuine remorse to the point that it almost came across overboard. We are a couple months into our relationship now and I haven't worried once so far. I know people say cheaters will always cheat, so I know I've ran a risk here dating him, but he makes me feel incredibly secure to the point I feel like he won't cheat on me. If he does in the future then I guess I'll learn my lesson, but right now I don't want to possibly miss out on something great because of a huge mistake that he's shown incredible guilt over.
I dated this guy who was really abusive, and I didn't know how to leave him. He lived in my house and I couldn't get him out. Tried, but he wouldn't leave. I met my current boyfriend when I was trying to break it off with the abuser. We didn't actively do anything, but I know in my brain that I emotionally cheated on my abuser. He told me very blatantly that he liked me a lot and he would be willing to wait until I broke it off with my then boyfriend. I fell completely in love with him. We texted constantly, flirted and hung out a few times. We never did anything that would officially cross that line, though. One morning I woke up, and my abuser was being extra shitty. I lost it and started screaming at him to get the hell out. He refused, so I packed up all his shit while he tried to unpack it. He finally left, in my sister's car by the way. Took us a week or two to get it back, and then I called my now boyfriend. We made it official that night. I know I emotionally cheated on my abuser, and that was shitty of me. I have to remember sometimes that I'm no better than him. But me and my current boyfriend have been together for about a year and I love him with my whole heart. I would be absolutely devastated if he did to me what I did to my ex.
My ex cheated on me with someone, then proceeded to cheat on him with I think 2 or 3 other guys. Yeah, cheaters gonna cheat, man.
Did it and got cheated on a few years later. 4 dudes in a month, then threw me out of the house. I miss my dogs.
I was married to an emotionally abusive man. I won't list everything he did, but as a simple example, he'd scream at me when I begged him to tell me I love you more than twice a week because that was our agreement. It's also easier to say how long he was faithful for than how long he cheated, which was exactly 1 month out of the 5 years we were together. I was in deep denial. The final straw was when he accidentally called me on Skype while arranging to have sex with another woman while he was deployed in South Korea, specifically about their need to find protection ASAP. I had gotten married to him at 16, in complete denial that he was a horrible scum. But to hear what was happening years later, I couldn't deny it anymore. And so I met a guy, just as a friend, who treated me like a princess, while my own husband treated me like crap. It was an emotional affair at first, but meeting this guy gave me the courage to see what was happening to me, and I embraced him as my boyfriend, while yes, still married to my ex. Eventually my ex begged me to try. He never found out about the affair but had suspected something was up with how I was acting. He confessed all his infidelity of the 5 years and I asked my friend to never speak to me again because I wanted to be fair and try with my husband. We tried for a month and then he left me the day after our anniversary for another woman. I got in contact with the guy the first cheated with about a month or 2 later. We've been together for 7 years and married for almost a year and a half.
Not me, but a close friend of mine, back when we were in high school to early 20s. She was in 3 relationships in a row that she got into through cheating on the past guy. Dude 1 was a mutual friend, really cool guy and everyone liked him. She was with him for almost a year before things changed. We were all at a party and she hooked up with a dude 2, and started going out with him that same night. This was a small town, so dude 1 found out the same weekend. She was with dude 2 for a year before we went on this college prep trip and she hooked up with dude 3 over the week-long trip. Dude 2 found out shortly after she got back. Dude 3 and her tried to keep seeing each other long distance over the summer, but their relationship ultimately failed because dude 3 found someone at his school that he hit it off with. Dude 3 broke off the relationship to start seeing the girl he met. My friend was devastated, for real, couldn't believe the guy did this to her. It was so strange that she didn't see the karma in it, but she didn't. If you're curious, she didn't learn from her mistake and we are no longer friends.
Thanks for watching Reddit with Husky. Hit the subscribe button for more video and let me know in the comment whether you will date someone who cheated someone before.